Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into something called neurovascular coupling. Basically, it's that super tight link between our brain cells firing up and getting the blood supply they need.
Exactly. We've got some great material here that really explores this.
Yeah, it looks fascinating. So our mission today is really to get our heads around what neurovascular coupling actually is and, why it's so fundamental for how our brains work day to day and for research too.
Right. Think of it simply as supply meeting demand.
Yeah.
Instantly, right where it's needed.
Okay.
When your neurons get active, they burn through energy. So neurovascular coupling ramps up blood flow right there, delivering oxygen, delivering glucose, just what they need. It's remarkably efficient.
So it's not like the whole brain gets flooded with blood. It's much more specific, like a spotlight.
Precisely. Very targeted. And, well, that's huge for how we actually study the brain. It's the core idea behind fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging.
Ah, the brain scans. Okay, so when you see those colorful maps showing brain activity, we're not really seeing neurons firing directly.
Correct. You're seeing the result of that firing.
Mm.
fMRI picks up on tiny changes in blood oxygen levels.
Yeah.
And because of neurovascular coupling, those oxygen level changes are a really good proxy for neural activity.
Huh. So the coupling is the bridge, essentially. It lets us use blood flow to infer brain function.
It's the key, yeah. Without it, fMRI wouldn't tell us much about specific activity.
That's quite an indirect measurement when you think about it. Now,
Yeah.
the source material also mentions astrocytes playing a role. I mean, what are they doing in all this?
Right, astrocytes. They're a type of glial cell, the brain support crew. And they're critical go-betweens here.
Go-betweens.
Yeah, they have these little extensions, tendrils, that physically connect to both the neurons and the nearby tiny blood vessels.
Okay.
So when neurons fire, they release chemicals. Astrocytes sense these chemicals.
Mhm.
Then they release their own signals directly onto the blood vessels,
Telling them to do what?
telling them to either widen and dilate to let more blood in, or sometimes constrict. They're like tiny traffic controllers for blood flow, managing resources right at the spot.
Wow. Okay, so it's a delicate chain of communication, neuron to astrocyte to blood vessel.
Exactly. And if that chain breaks down, well, that's where problems start. The source mentions things like stroke, Alzheimer's.
Yeah, how does that connect?
Well, think about a stroke. You get a blocked blood vessel that directly disrupts this coupling. The demand is there from the neurons, but the supply is cut off. That mismatch causes damage.
Makes sense. And Alzheimer's.
In Alzheimer's disease, the research suggests this coupling becomes less efficient, sort of sluggish. The blood flow response might not match the neuron's needs as well. And the thinking is that this could, starve the neurons over time and contribute to the cognitive decline we see.
It's amazing that this communication relies on actual molecules, like chemical messengers passing notes.
Oh, absolutely. It's a whole chemical soup involved. Neurotransmitters from the neurons, various vasoactive substances released by astrocytes, and even the vessel walls themselves. It's complex signaling that allows for really fine-tuned control.
It must be incredibly difficult to actually watch this happening. How do scientists even measure these neurovascular signals?
Yeah, it's tricky. They use some pretty sophisticated methods, often things like high-powered microscopy, sometimes two-photon microscopy, combined with ways to track blood flow, like laser speckle contrast imaging, usually in animal models, letting them see the neurons firing and the blood vessels responding almost in real time.
Okay, very advanced stuff. Now, thinking ahead, the source mentions brain-computer interfaces, BCIs. How could understanding neurovascular coupling better affect that technology?
Well, many BCIs rely on detecting brain activity. If we understand the coupling better, how reliable it is, how fast it responds, we might be able to build BCIs that interpret brain signals more accurately, maybe faster.
Refining the signal interpretation.
Potentially, yes. Or maybe even finding new ways to measure brain activity based on these vascular changes.
And then there's the really big question, cognitive enhancement. Could we, theoretically, boost brain power by making this coupling work better?
That is definitely the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's intriguing. If neurovascular coupling is about efficient energy supply, could making it more efficient make the brain work better? Possibly.
What?
But it's a fundamental process. Messing with it could have unforeseen consequences. We'd need a much, much deeper understanding before we could even think about safely enhancing it. It's an active research area, but very much still exploratory.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, the big takeaway really is that neurovascular coupling isn't just some side effect. It's foundational, this constant back and forth ensuring active brain cells get the fuel they need right when they need it. It underpins so much.
Absolutely. It's vital for basic brain function. It's the principle that makes tools like fMRI possible, and it's clearly a target for understanding and maybe treating neurological diseases.
So it really connects basic function, research tools, and future medicine.
Indeed. And it leaves you thinking, doesn't it? As we unravel more about this critical link, how might that change everything? From how we diagnose brain disorders much earlier, perhaps, to developing treatments, or
Yeah.
even how we might eventually interface our own minds with technology in the future. It really opens up some profound possibilities.